Otis College of Art and Design presents Measuring and Cutting with Precision and Accuracy. With me, Chris Badger. Making accurate measurements is the first step in any successful building project. All of the subsequent steps of cutting and assembly of the various parts of your project will be affected for better or worse by the accuracy of your initial measurements. So it is important to build precision from the very start, being certain every step of the way that you are preserving the accuracy of your work. We will be measuring using United States customary units. The 32nd of an inch is the smallest unit of measure that we will be using. To demonstrate these techniques, I will be using an X-Acto knife, a 36-inch metal ruler, a tape measure, a framing square, a sheet of corrugated cardboard, a self-healing cutting mat, and a sharp pencil. The pieces that you cut out for your projects should be measured to the nearest 32nd of an inch, and they should not deviate from their planned size by any more than plus or minus 1/32. This range of unintended but acceptable deviation from a design is called the tolerance. In this demonstration, I will cut a set of 6-inch by 6-inch squares from a sheet of corrugated cardboard. Lay your material down on top of your cutting mat with a rippled side up. Place your 36-inch ruler on the left-hand edge of your material and measure its height from the bottom left corner. Mine is 22.5 inches. Now move your ruler to the bottom edge of your material. I will mark a point at the exact same distance out from the bottom left-hand corner, 22.5 inches. Lay your ruler diagonally across your cardboard and strike a line between the 2 points. This diagonal line runs at a 45-degree angle to the corrugation of the board. Cutting the cardboard on the bias ensures that all 4 edges of our piece will be identical in appearance and all equally supported by the corrugate. From this point on, we will refer to this diagonal line as our baseline. The factory cut edges of the cardboard are no longer relevant in our process. Align your framing square so that one leg runs along the baseline and the corner is a little over 6 inches from the top left corner of the cardboard. Mark a point along the top edge of your square, exactly 6 inches from the baseline. Flip your square over and repeat this process. This time, start 1 or 2 inches from the bottom edge of the cardboard. To save material, remember to draw your perpendicular line along the outside edge of your framing square. Each of these new lines is at a 90-degree angle from our baseline. Use your 36-inch straight edge to draw a line connecting these 2 points. This new line should be parallel to the original baseline. Next, we'll cut along these 2 lines to produce a consistent 6-inch strip that we can later divide into squares. Lay your 36-inch metal straight edge down and line it up against the baseline. Now we'll cut. Hold the ruler firmly against the material with your subdominant hand, spreading your fingers wide enough to evenly distribute pressure along as much of the ruler's length as possible. Stand with 1 foot forward and lean over the cardboard. Take the knife in your dominant hand, hold it like a pencil and not like a dagger. Make certain that the tips of your fingers do not protrude beyond the edge of the ruler. Align your body so that the line to be cut points to the center of your torso. Do not try to cut through the material all in one pass. Use a 3-pass cutting technique, and be sure that the ruler does not get moved between passes. Hold the knife against the edge of the ruler. Sight down the blade, making sure that it is not leaning to the left or to the right. Otherwise, you will cut a bevel onto your cardboard. Draw the blade back toward you by rocking backward from the hip. Keep your elbow, wrist, and shoulder joints immobilized. Before picking up the ruler, check to make sure that both pieces of material are free from each other. Make additional passes with the knife as needed. Next, use the same technique to cut along the parallel line that you have drawn 6 inches over from the baseline. Make sure to reposition your material as needed, so that the cutting mat remains under the length of your cut. Just as before, hold the X-Acto knife like a pencil. Slide the blade along the edge of the ruler. Walk your fingers down the ruler to keep constant pressure on your material as you cut. Use multiple passes to create your cut. Draw the blade back toward you by rocking backward from the hip. Remember to keep your elbow, wrist, and shoulder joints immobilized. If your ruler gets accidentally moved, don't worry. Simply stop and realign it before continuing with your cut. You should now have a 6-inch wide strip of cardboard. Set all of your other materials aside and lay the strip down so that its length runs parallel to the front edge of the table. We will now cut out our 6-inch squares. Place your ruler along the perpendicular lines at the end of the strip. Cut the line using the technique that I just demonstrated. Use the inside corner of your framing square to check that the cut is 90 degrees from the baseline, which is a right angle. If it is within our tolerance, then proceed to your next cut. Use your square to mark a point 6 inches from the perpendicular cut along the top line and baseline. Now use your ruler to create a line between these two new points. This line will be at a right angle or 90 degrees from our baseline. Using your X-Acto knife, cut the line. Spread your fingers so that you have even pressure along your ruler. You should now have a precise 6-inch by 6-inch square. By cutting the cardboard on the bias, now all 4 edges of our piece are identical in appearance, and all these edges are equally supported by the corrugate structure of the board. Use the inside of your framing square to make sure that all of the corners are 90 degrees. Repeat this process down the line to create a set of identical squares. Place your framing square along your baseline to measure the distance to your next cut. Repeat this process along the top parallel line. Now use your ruler to cut the line. Accuracy, not speed, is important at this stage. Check each corner against the inside of your framing square to make sure that all of the corners are 90 degrees. Press your cut squares together, back to back, and make sure that they are all the same. Continue on to your next cut. Check your work as you go along. Continue to press your cut squares together, back to back, and make sure that they are all the same. Once you have your cut squares to construct your object, press all of the squares together, back to back, and make sure that they are all the same. Discard any pieces that deviate from the 6-inch design specifications by any more than a 32nd of an inch in any direction. Once you have the required squares, it is a good strategy to double check all of your pieces before you proceed to gluing them together. Check them with your ruler to make sure that their heights and widths are 6 inches. You can also do this with a tape measure. Discard any pieces that deviate from the 6-inch design specifications by any more than a 32nd of an inch in any direction. If necessary, cut additional pieces using the methodology I've demonstrated in this video. Continue cutting and checking your results until you have produced 6 perfect 6-inch squares. Accurate measuring and precise cutting are fundamental to producing more effective and professional work.